being the kid I was mentally, I wanted the Broncos to have a terrible season, right? I'm like, you guys just released me. I wish the worst on for your season.
Repaint that room.
Yeah. And they go on to win the Super Bowl, and I watch it from jail. And so again, there's no woe is me. I made my decisions, but that is the truth.
Welcome to Recovery Cast, where we share authentic stories from influential voices about the joys of life in mental health and addiction recovery and the journeys that led us here.
We tell our stories because we don't heal in isolation.
I'm Brittany Baynard.
And I'm Tom Farley. Today, we're honored to welcome Montee Ball, former NFL running back and record-breaking Wisconsin Badger, who has transformed his platform into a force for good. After stepping away from football, Montee began sharing his personal journey through alcoholism, recovery, and healing with honesty and heart. Now, a passionate mental health and addiction recovery advocate, Montee travels the country speaking to students, athletes, and communities about the importance of vulnerability, seeking help, and choosing a new path. His story is one of resilience and redemption. Join us for a powerful conversation about identity, purpose, and life beyond the game. So let's go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Recovery Cast. We are joined with a very special guest, Montee Ball. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Wisconsin legend. So glad to have you back here. So take us back. You are a UW football legend. You have just been drafted to the NFL. Things are looking incredible and stellar for you. You are on top of the world. But in your personal life, that's just not how things were going, and stuff started to fall apart for you. Take us back to that time and kind of tell us where this all kicked off.
Yeah, as you mentioned, right? It was a dream come true. Grew up a Broncos fan, living right outside St. Louis, Missouri. My room was blue and orange growing up. Told my dad I want to be a running back for the Denver Broncos, and he was like, "All right, let's get you into football." So, as you mentioned, fast forward to when that happened, there was some baggage that I carried with me that I developed in college. Really developed a strong relationship, unfortunately, with alcohol while in college. And that was something that I never addressed, and literally packed that up in my suitcase and took it with me to Denver, Colorado. And so, I was just dealing with a significant amount of depression, pressures, right? Societal pressures, familial pressures as well, of being a student athlete, of trying to be a poster child for a wonderful football club, a football program. And again, you don't know what you don't know. And so I was not prepared for these pressures that were coming along. And of course, alcohol was there for my cure, as I believed.
Yeah.
But that's never the case.
No, it isn't. And UW-Madison. So we had like our coming of age at around the same time here. Like football is everything here, tailgates, but that also is like the drinking culture. And sometimes it feels like we're in this bubble around us when it comes to drinking and not seeing that as an issue. What was the drinking culture like for you at UW? And going to college?
Yeah, I always love to, I think this is such a wonderful question because I love to preface it with, no matter what I made, the decisions that I made. However, your environment is important when it comes to especially when you're at an impressionable stage in your life. And so for me, coming from St. Louis, Missouri, Winsville, Missouri, to be more specific, it was a cultural shock in a sense. And my parents and my sisters actually moved up as well my freshman year in college. And, and they were even like, oh, wow.
They're not joking when they talk about it.
They're not quiet about it whatsoever. And for me, once my body started to ache a little more than it did from high school football, once, the social media started to come about and fans were able to reach out and with either disgust or excitement, just those pressures I wasn't prepared for. course, I dove headfirst into the partying and drinking atmosphere. And at the time, those 4 years didn't come back.
Yeah, but it's hard not to, because like thinking back on it, you're in an amazing like sport. I mean, football is really gassed up around here. Like we really enjoy like football tailgates, UW Badgers, but like we also kind of reward the like starting drinking at like 8 a.m. and going until 3 a.m. And that not being an issue for like anybody. It kind of just being more celebrated.
No matter what, the partying is going to happen. If you win or you lose, we boozed.
Yeah.
And so...
Yep. Especially at that age too, because it's like you're being like put up, like you said, like you are on this pedestal, and it's kind of like you're on the football team. So I'd imagine you can get into any bar you want. It doesn't matter if you're 21 or not. Like I did it. I'm sure you could do it. If I was doing it, you could do it. Like, and I know that culture. Like you probably live downtown, so luckily there's probably not a lot of drinking and driving involved. But like if you live not in like the downtown area, then you are susceptible for drinking and driving. But it was everybody coming down here to drink all the time. And you're held up on that pedestal, but like you're also very young. Yeah. And you're in this like party environment where it's cool and I'm being looked up to for these things, but nobody's kind of like guiding me. Or did you have people guiding you? Like, were there people saying like, hey, I see this as a problem?
Not really. Great question. I mean, of course, my parents and my sisters were present, but you only know what you know.
Right.
They've never experienced anything like that before. And so I always tell people, of course, with the work I'm doing now, which we'll get into obviously, but there is some sort of chemical dependency that's going on as well, right? These happy hormones at levels that you can't really even explain.
That dopamine hit
to people when you have 80, 90,000 people screaming your name, and that high that you get. I always tell the youth today that are playing sports, like of course, not all are going to make it to that level, but you have to prepare for something like that as well too, right? Of how are you going to manage these chemical dependencies that are going to come about, of course, right? With this release of dopamine, these happy hormones, like how are you going to manage that as well? Because that's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. You mentioned your family coming out here. I moved my family back from the East Coast when they were little because I wanted them to experience this wonderful place, but they said the same thing. It was like, what's going on here? And it's almost like this is our culture. You have no choice but to accept it. And it's not like you move here and say, I don't think I really want to do that. You're not given a choice. That's the strangest thing is people come here, they notice it's elevated, but there's nothing much you can do about it if you want to,
I guess I never thought about it from like, because like I grew up in a small town outside of Madison. So like the UW thing was just like a well-known, like that's just how it is. And I feel like the little towns outside of it also kind of acted the same way. But you came from, was like the town you grew up in, was it similar? Was there like a college next door where this was really common? No. So it's just like in a different culture growing up, not viewing that and coming here, that had to be a huge culture shock. And you're in the atmosphere of party, be cool, dopamine hits because people love you and are shouting your name. Like, how I can imagine it would be extremely hard to turn away from any of that.
Absolutely. And I think it's difficult to, again, there's nothing that can replace that.
Yeah.
Ever. And so it was, for me, that relationship with the bottle. And in the moment, at the time, of course, I thought it was something that I needed, something that would help me loosen up, something that would help me to get that high again, right? Yeah. When I was alone at nights. But that relationship strengthened and messed up my psyche and obviously didn't head in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I know this was true for my brother when he got more and more popular. We could be in the middle of a room or a bar, surrounded by people, center of attention, making everyone laugh, and feeling completely isolated and alone.
Oh yeah.
And the only way to manage that was for me to drink. And it sounds, I mean, you're describing the exact same thing. And I remember going into bars, seeing, the UW athletes. I didn't know it at the time, but now I'm like looking back, like they're the same. They're experiencing the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I wanted to do this show for many reasons, right? Wanted to meet you, obviously, meet the rest of the staff. But of course, Mr. Farley, knowing you and obviously your brother's story, I knew there'd be some parallels, right? With putting on this act, right?
Oh, yeah.
Having to be this certain figure around certain groups. And so I can guarantee you that Chris probably shared with you that there are many moments in his life where he had multiple bodies around him that knew him and that were calling him a friend, but he had no idea who they truly were.
And we'll get into this, but yeah, I know you can connect certainly to Chris, but what I love is what you're doing now and what I'm doing now. Now we have that connection, and we'll get into that, but let's talk about what you just said. You're going through this and all these people are around you and they're your friends and connection, but you look back now and you're like, what do you wish, somebody would have noticed sooner, would have said something. The public, the celebrities kind of thing, they're along for that ride, but man, you're a coach, you're a teammate, you're a family loved one. Like, why couldn't you say something? Like, what do you wish?
A great question. I've had many years to think about it, right? And there are actually opportunities for me to answer the questions truthfully, because I was asked by our fullback once, and my running backs coach at the time as well. And I do wish that I felt empowered to say that I'm struggling, that I need help, that I would love a little bit of advice with this. But again, I think that when you're playing at such a high level, it's UW football, right? Or it's Broncos football. It's these high level, just intensity. You have to show up and be the best 24/7. I didn't believe that I would be awarded the anonymity to actually share that with my coach, because he has to keep his job as well too, right?
Trying to put myself in your shoes in that moment. You have a coach coming to you asking if you have a problem. I know anyone in general, sometimes you're going to like clench up. That knee-jerk reaction is like kind of defensive, but also like you're like, am I still going to be on the team? Are people going to think of me differently? Am I still going to be able to succeed? Are people going to still like give me that chance if I do get help? Yeah, that's got to be a lot to sit there and process, to be able to give a truthful answer to somebody in that moment.
Yeah, it's very difficult. That's the stigma, right? That's the stigma that is still quite the monster. That's keeping a lot of people silent, keeping a lot of keeping the snowball going, unfortunately.
What was your relationship to mental health, and just kind of speaking on your feelings or how you processed emotions growing up and like prior to that?
Never.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very a wonderful household. My parents are still together, 2 sisters, but love my dad to death. He comes from his father, of course, my grandfather, a vet, completely different worlds.
My dad's the same way.
Completely different worlds. So my dad's very stoic. Rarely did we ever talk about our feelings. Did we ever, was that door ever opened for me? Not saying that maybe it needed to be, but again, we built our relationship around the game of football. Many other things, obviously, but my father was my head coach from age 8 till my freshman year in high school. And so that dynamic was challenging.
That is a strong relationship on its own.
Generationally, there hasn't been that much shifts and change. So the passing of the father playbook down to the next, that was okay. Something happened in the last 2 generations. Like with me, I got this playbook from my father, who grew up the same way in a different world, and it didn't apply anymore. It didn't apply, and I had to figure it out all on my own without that help of this. I had a lot of support, but would never understand what I was going through or wanted to even talk about what I was going through.
Yeah,
right?
It's uncomfortable at times. I feel that too. I get what you're saying. Like, no one ever made me feel like I couldn't. I don't know. I wasn't made to feel like I couldn't share my emotions. It's like no one locked the door, but nobody showed me how to open it or told me that there was an option to open this door.
Exactly.
So it became harder for me as I went on to like process things, and you internalize it. So then that battle isn't even something you work out with the world. It's something you internally are struggling with yourself. And then you become somebody who is more introspective when it comes to all issues or most of them, the big stuff. And it's a struggle because you're not supposed to do things alone. You are supposed to outsource, but it's hard to outsource when you're like, I don't know how this person's going to take this because I haven't seen them process emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it. You
Yeah.
nailed it. I love how you shared where it's the, like, no one was stopping me from opening that door, but no one helped me open it.
Yeah.
And that's not any fault of my parents. That's not any fault of my sisters. That's culture. That's literally a microcosm in a sense of the United States of America.
Yep.
Households. That's something that we have to continue to, break down. Mr. Farley, the stigma, right? Of you as well, like really just chipping away at this so households can develop that skill. Because once you start developing those relationships with drugs, alcohol, et cetera, right? That chemical dependency, it's going to spiral out. It's going to.
Right.
It always does.
Yeah.
It's easy to identify, like, let's say a substance use issue, because there's this very outwardly effects, and and of course there's a lot of stigma around that. But it's the mental health stuff before that has almost more stigma because you're not even allowed to talk about it. And it's different healing too. You can heal the body from substance use disorder, but to heal the soul, if you will, from with the mental health stuff, that's a different animal altogether. And it's harder. That's why it's probably why we start with the substance use, because it's easier.
That's exactly what it always comes from. I hear everybody that comes in this room and in other rooms, it's that feeling of loneliness. Like there is nothing scarier than being surrounded by people and feeling like you want to cry because I've never felt so alone right now. I've never felt so alone. I have all my friends around me right now, all the people I know in my life. I don't know why I feel so alone. And it's that like scary feeling that you're like, grabbing something. I don't know what else to do, but I need to grab something to make this feeling stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's such a wave, that imposter syndrome, like around, why am I here? What am I doing? But then the alcohol would start to kick in and I would immediately forget. Literally this battle back and forth. And many players will agree with this as well. There's you have this love-hate relationship with the sport.
Yeah.
You really do.
Wow.
Once I got to my junior year in college, which was my best year when we landed Russell Wilson, of course, and then we had a phenomenal year. That was actually my worst year off the field. I didn't enjoy the game as much.
Really?
At that moment, I didn't. I remember going into the season talking with my family, and I was like, it was very brief. I was like, I don't know, I'll do something else. I'm kind of getting tired.
Did you know then what your feelings were? It was just like
It was really quick. It was very brief because, you're in it, you're in the fishbowl.
Yeah.
And as soon as that thought came in, something popped up to where, I got to go to practice or what have you.
Get back on that hamster wheel and just keep going.
Exactly. And so, and I think that translates as well to many different verticals, many different careers, right? Where folks are just continuously doing this work all the time. And it's like, is this it? Is this all? Is this all?
Is this what fulfilling?
It almost becomes kind of a self-fulfilling, self-sabotage thing. And it's
Absolutely.
like, as I said, I was, like we can jump ahead to this, moment where you're watching your team win a Super Bowl from, a different place.
From jail.
And, everyone sees it, that story in a different light. But like you're saying, like, it's over. Like, I don't know. It starts from here, but I'm sure there's so much that goes into that. So break that down however you want to.
Whoa. I'm going to open a book. And I appreciate, I really appreciate you allowing for me to have this space to the both of you to share this because, I'm now at the place in my life where, I've been talking about it for 9 years, 10 years. And, I'm past it. I am. But I do believe that no matter what, it is somewhat part of my story. It is part of my story, excuse me. So for me, obviously, I did land in jail. I wasn't the kindest person to my partner at the time. I was heavily intoxicated a majority of the week. I even had, so this is when the Broncos released me in September of 2015. And I didn't want to play anymore. I was done. I had a phone call with my family, and I was like, I'm done. I'm like, I want to see what else I can do, what else I'm good at. But then the other side of me was like, no, you're not done yet. And so I was drinking heavily during those periods. The Jets called me. I ignored their phone call. The Bears called me. I ignored their phone call. My agent was calling me.
You really didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I ignored their phone call, but then I went to the Patriots because it's all I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what else am I good at? And so those 3 months of not playing a sport was rare for me during the fall, not wearing shoulder pads since the age of 8. Just like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I get to sit back and watch. So, but long story short, of course, fast forward to February of 2016. Again, I was not the kindest person to anyone around me,
Including yourself.
including myself.
Yeah.
Got into it with my father. Well, it was not fun. That was not good. So every single person around me received a very disgusting human being. And of course, I landed in jail, and it was a wild experience, one that I needed for sure. But of course, yeah, I had I watched the Broncos win the Super Bowl while sitting in jail, and they just released me, 4 to 5 months prior. And so there was so much built up anger because I was released from the Broncos, and then I went to the Patriots, and we lost to the Broncos in the AFC Championship game for the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl. And so, of course, being the kid I was mentally, I wanted the Broncos to have a terrible season, right? I'm like, you guys just released me. I wish the worst on for your season.
Mom, repaint that room.
Yeah, and they go on to win the Super Bowl, and I watched it from jail. And so, again, there's no woe is me. I made my decisions, but that is the truth.
That had to have been a lot sitting there in that moment, watching that. I feel like that's something you would just see in a movie, and then just you would be feeling that person's internal emotions.
Weird.
I think most people focus on the fall, and it's different for everyone. And sometimes people think of somebody's fall as a lot harder and longer and deeper and painful. But the thing is, the climb back's the same. The climb back is the same for all of us.
Yeah.
What was the thing that I'm going to,
that's it.
climb back?
Yeah.
What is it? What was there?
Absolutely. There's many things, but of course, the birth of my son.
Oh, that's
birth of my son.
That'll do it. Yeah.
He's 9. And so when he was born, of course, it was I will never touch this bottle again. I will never go back. He will never experience or ever see a drunk dad, a drunk Montee. Not going to happen. And so many things happened, and I've written about it. And so I'm very public about it, and have a great relationship with his mother, co-parenting, but I had no clue that he even existed until about 8 months into pregnancy.
Oh, that's a whole other thing.
And so 2 weeks after I got out of jail, I received that notification. And so I was dealing with that as well. But a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And again, wonderful relationship, a great mother in Colorado to our child. And again, that was the moment that really turned things around. But also, as folks know that are in recovery, you have to do it for yourself first.
Yeah.
You deserve it first more than anyone, right? And so I hopped into intensive outpatient treatment, then just individual therapy, and I really put the work in.
Yeah.
I really put the work in. And that's what I want for people to know as well. It's I put the work in, many hours, over 100 plus hours of therapy to figure out why.
Yeah, because that spark can happen, and you can look in your kids and say, you will never get that version of me. But it's work to get there. You can't just you'll never just roll on the I'm feeling this in that moment, because there will be moments that will trump that, and you have to be able to go through those instead of going backwards. What are some of the things that you learned, or some of the tools that you learned through therapy that you use now?
Absolutely. For me, meditation. And it's not so much as when it's funny when you say that, where people think, of course, what they see on TV, like you need to see exactly. Yeah. You need to sit somewhere on an isolated hill or what have you. And no, honestly, you just have to give yourself breaks, moments to really just widen that space before you respond. And that's, for me, I was just such an impulsive human being prior to even drinking. My parents were going to put me on Ritalin when I was 8, and they're like, oh, let's put them into football. And so I've always had that mindset of if I want to do something, if I like it, or if I want to say something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. And so for me, that was very helpful, right? Of learning like, hey, we have to focus on this gap between your response. Because you're so impulsive and you need to really focus and hone in on that. And that's what we're going to work on. And so we worked on that throughout therapy of give yourself a moment. Take about a minute, then respond.
We're in the process of giving up what was our identity for the longest time. And we had to, and that doesn't work for me anymore. And I got to, what is my new identity? I need to like, who really, what's my authentic self? It doesn't happen, and I think what I found is the same thing as you did. I wouldn't go to meditation either, because that's still very uncomfortable, but something has to be done where that inner reflection where you're like,
yes.
And that peace to give up one identity to get to the next place. So I think that's what you're talking about.
Exactly. You nailed it.
Sit in your peace. Yeah. I feel like fellow ADHDers, I don't know if you're diagnosed or
I am.
anything.
I'm diagnosed.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Samesies.
I have big emotions.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah.
We have big, strong emotions, and we love a lot, and we feel a lot, and we will just like do that thing. And meditation is honestly the greatest thing for us, because we do need those dopamine hits, and your parents are smart to put you in football because you're going to get those literally smashed into you. But like, but after that, it's like what I need that. And I got it at a really big level here. How do I continue to get that thing going? Meditation is like so key to being able to like just sit there with yourself. Cause I think that's something that drives us to feel that loneliness, because we can't sit with ourselves.
Right.
So then when you are forced to, that's when that panic starts. So learning how to sit there, and you're like, I don't know if I like myself. I don't know if I'll be able to do this or be accepted. It's like, you just got to sit there and calm down.
Absolutely.
And like allow it to happen. Yeah.
Agreed. I love the way that you both explained it. That's what it is, right? You need to take time to create a space for yourself and just for yourself to self-reflect. And so when I walked into therapy, of course, again, I grew up in a wonderful household growing up, a 2-parent household my whole life, wonderful neighborhoods, went to a great school. Again, there was never that space created. It was not as if they said no, but again, it was jumping into the game of football, this extremely masculine realm where you do not speak of that. You do not share that. It's do not let your opponent see you tired, that you're bleeding, or that you are whatever, right?
Any weakness.
And that bled over into my real life, where it's like, oh no, that's how I'm supposed to be. I'm a man. That's how I'm supposed to act. And so throughout therapy, I thought that when I first stepped in that we were going to talk about alcohol. Rarely ever talked about alcohol.
Yeah.
It was relationships.
Yeah.
And obviously the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And I've never been asked that question before.
Well, it's funny. And I was the same thing when I had started to have kids too. I had that same thought that you mentioned earlier. It was like, I don't want my kids to see, what I saw in my family.
Right.
See, and because I thought it was just about drinking. So they're just going to be sober and they're going to see that. But, what they did see was a crazy, like this controlling, like all the other stuff. Like it wasn't about the drinking.
Wasn't.
It wasn't. I needed the clarity of sobriety to deal with that stuff.
It's especially in Black and brown communities, right? Let's just be honest here. We know.
It's another layer too. I was going to ask, like you've got male, you've got athlete, young guy in his late teens, early 20s, but then you're also a Black man. I am not sure of like the town makeup, but also like sometimes that can attribute to space and the space that you feel open to express yourself. Yeah. What's the experience like for you as a Black man going through treatment therapy, and what are some of the things that maybe you felt were like hurdles that you had to overcome that maybe wouldn't have been there?
we need more Black therapists, Black and brown therapists. There's a lack there. There's significant, it's lacking significantly in that, with that. And I would love to see more. I do know that there's blacktherapists.com, et cetera, but when I was going to google.com, right, to find out who do I want to see. And of course I initially was trying to find a Black person, or brown that I could somewhat relate to on that and the cultural aspect, but I couldn't find any. Yeah. And I was lucky to find one guy that we had therapeutic alliance immediately, which is very rare.
Oh man.
Very rare. But being a Black man, of course, I grew up in a predominantly white area. And so I had.
And then you came here.
Yeah. And so
just a bigger predominantly white area.
Yep. And so I had that, but it's just with our culture, of course, there is no talk about it. There's no guidance. There is no, for a lot of our areas, neighborhoods, there's not even any resources for that. The scarcity that are in these neighborhoods, right? When you talk about mental health resources is non-existent. And then of course we can go back to, and I don't want to get too far back, but obviously the Jim Crow era, redlining, et cetera, that has, literally just added another layer to as to why our communities don't speak about it.
We have a lot of generational trauma, and sometimes it's not something that I considered. Just thinking about it the other day, I brought it up to Tom. I was like, I've seen multiple therapists trying to find the right one. There have been some where I'm like, this is perfect, except for this thing. There's this part that they're just not going to relate to. And I really need this part of connection, because I realize a lot of my trauma could possibly be race related, or just working through thoughts that I had as a kid that were never really answered for me, being in a secluded area as a Black person. And I'm seeing all white therapists that aren't able to answer that for me or get me that help. Luckily, I've had a few people on social media, Dr. Alfie reached out hey, here's this app, go here. But yeah, even with these apps and stuff, if I want to see someone in person that I feel can relate to culturally, that may have been through just something that I have been through, it's so hard to find.
It is. It's and I think that's, for one, that's why I love what the both of you are doing. Because the more conversations we can have about this, right, the more doors that open. And obviously, to be more specific about our communities, Black and brown communities, it's, we need more leaders in these communities to step up. This generational trauma is a real thing. Epigenetics is a real thing. The study of epigenetics. And I just believe that some people, again, I don't want to get too far from our conversation here, but again, just to speak quickly about the generational trauma aspect of it, my grandmother's still alive. She's 75 years old. She went to a segregated school. Excuse me. There are things that she experienced that she passed down unintentionally. Again, not anything negative or bad or horrible.
No, but there's feelings. There's ways you act in certain environments of self-preservation that you then also pass. My mom is 71. My dad very much raised me how he was raised, and how you address people, how you maybe I feel I learned how to appease people from him.
I hear you. I hear you.
And then I got my mouth from my mom.
Yes. And then I hear you loud and clear. And but with, back on, with my therapist, Corey, love the guy to death.
Shout out Corey.
White guy, white male. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Yeah. Sign up. We were able to connect immediately because he has a past, and he's very open about it as well, but he has a past of touring. He would tour with Metallica a few times and open up for them. And that, as soon as he started sharing that with me, I was like, okay, you understand what I'm talking about. That, again, the chemical dependency, the lights, the fame, the money, all that comes. 2 different
faces on one person.
Yes. And not really having much time for yourself. And again, you don't know what you don't know. I keep saying that because you can be prepared for it. And that's what I keep telling our youth today is you can prepare for this stuff, right? If you are one that's selected to make it to that next level, to the high stage, whatever you want to call it. But if you're not, it can spiral very quickly without those guardrails, tools, everything that you need in place in order to continue in the right path.
This podcast is brought to you by Recovery.com. Recovery.com is a place where anyone can find mental health or addiction treatment options specific to them. You can filter by location, price, insurance coverage, therapy type, mental health condition, levels of care, and so much more. Recovery.com is the place to find mental health and addiction treatment for anyone, anywhere.
We go way back. I've been on we've done podcasts together. Yeah. I remember when your book came out and, reading that. I don't know who you are. This is a different person. I got to tell you, like it's truly, we haven't seen each other a couple of years.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing somebody that's clearly in recovery, and not only just in recovery and healing yourself, but, helping others. And so talk to me about, this life in recovery. I mean, cause as I said, you even look fit. I mean, like
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to stay fit, but my life in recovery has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I view it as, again, not to get too religious, but for my sake, I am a believer in a higher power. I am grateful for a second chance, a second opportunity. And it's just a wonderful journey of like, hey man, like you need to forgive yourself too. You need to forgive yourself too. And it's been a wonderful opportunity for me to make amends, of course, to the person that I hurt. And then of course myself as well.
There are certain things that you start to hear and you thought, like I always thought I was an honest person, and I was a good person, but rigorously honest? No. There was always something I was holding back, and that's that. And you carry that. Was I humble? When it suited me, yeah. Humility was another heavy lift, and then the last thing, gratitude, was like, yeah, I'm grateful for like the easy stuff, but missing things that happen every moment of the day. That if you don't identify it, you don't get the feeling of, I am grateful for that. And so that's like, that changes you.
It does. And I love the way that you explain that too, where you have to put the work in for yourself. And when people ask me, what did you gain from the game of football? What did you gain from that? For so long, it's taken me quite some time to really figure out if I can really narrow down to one thing. I would narrow down to like the uncomfortable moments in your life are the opportunities where you're going to have the biggest growth. And with athletics, you're uncomfortable 24/7, and you're going to make yourself uncomfortable for a win, for a favorable outcome. That is what the process is. So that's what I've learned. That's what I've taken from that sport and literally just transferred it to whatever you want to call it, just moved it right over to my life of recovery, of not saying that I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still a chemical dependency. I am still an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic, though. Right. But I'm doing this for a favorable outcome.
We're humans, and we want to avoid that discomfort, and and we do all sorts of things and numb ourselves. And what I tell people is, we don't get the help we need because we are afraid of this life that I'm going to have. This life that it's different. The difference is that when you choose that life, you start to notice is getting better.
It is.
And when you look back, you're like, it was never, you had your highs, lows, and everybody getting better. No, it just it stayed the same. And now I can identify, not on my terms, not when I want it or how I want it, what degree I want it. But if I'm honest, it's getting better. Yeah,
it is.
I can see that with you.
Well put. Same for you. I mean, I think it's a community that I had no clue that I was going to be part of, but I'm grateful that I'm part of. And for me, it's just an opportunity to, again, just to continue, just to talk about the difficult truths, obviously, but also, what now? What now? What are we doing now? And how is your recovery? And I love even asking folks in the recovery community that same question, like, because everyone tends to, okay, I did do this and that and that. What are you doing now? Yes. How are you helping people today? Because this is what your story is. This is what you were tapped on the shoulder for is to help people.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because you can definitely get dragged down by all the bad stuff that I did, and that shame and that cringy feeling that you get before bedtime and stuff.
Yeah.
But or you can embrace all that good stuff
Embrace
you're
it.
doing now. You can feel proud to say the things you're doing now and the things you're doing to help the community and just being a better person for yourself and for other people.
When you start to do work in recovery,
Mhm.
when you've put a good foundation for yourself in place, and then you start to help people, and they look that effort. That's a different affirmation.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I really grateful is the word.
Yeah.
Again, I've mentioned it earlier, but the second opportunity, most people don't get that.
Mhm.
And so I take it. I don't take it lightly. I'm not going to take it for granted. And I do believe, again, many years, a decade, pretty much, of speaking to my higher power. Like, why?
Mhm.
Why? Like, what? I've never been this kind of person. Why? I was a smiley, happy kid all throughout my childhood, high school, and of course, for me, it's like this is what you're supposed to do,
Mhm.
Montee.
This
is what you're supposed to do. This is football gave you this platform to help your family, my extended family members, everyone who I love to death. But it's we need to stop drinking.
Mhm.
Just talking about just as a culture,
Mhm.
as an extended family. But and again, and then just for the public as well, where it's this, we need to shine light on substance use
Mhm.
and what it's doing to our youth. We all need to take a look at the data from CDC, et cetera, and figure out a plan, be solution based as opposed to what we've been doing,
Mhm.
which is not helpful.
Yeah.
And I think part of why we're doing what we're doing is to really send the message of there's nothing like the sight of a healed human or somebody that's healing. And I think as a community, we need to see, you need to see that there are people walking around, myself included, yourself, Brittany, that are doing amazing stuff. But, we had written ourselves off. Our communities are written, our families have written us off. And now here we are doing this amazing stuff, and we get it. But the rest of the people need to see that. Did you ever think that you would put the looks on the faces of the people that you really care about, like your family, your son, his mother, like your friend, like what they look at you now, like completely different?
I did not. And again, I love every single member of my family, from nuclear to extended, beautiful family.
Yeah.
But it is a message that's we have to start talking about. And so for me, I love having those conversations because it is a different look that I get.
Yeah.
Of one, like, okay, you actually really care about this. This is not just something that you just fell into because you did something. It's no, I hope that I've been, for the last decade, I've been really showing people that I truly care about this.
Yeah.
I do, because there aren't people that get the chance that I get. And that's, I don't want to say fair. Life's not fair, but I want for there to be more avenues for folks that may have an extremely short ceiling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because of something they did.
Well, or second chances.
It's funny. I still have conversations with my daughters, and they'll say something, "Oh, Dad, you're like this." I'm like, not anymore. Like, you're like, that was that guy. Like, you're not seeing this. Like, I want them to see it. Like, and they are little by little,
it's a beautiful feeling.
It's not on your time frame. It's like,
not.
Just keep doing it. Life will get better and better, and more and more people will see it.
It's you nailed it, right? It's the look from your your kid's face to your family, to your coworkers, to anyone, right? As you mentioned, right? We love affirmations. We love pats on the back. We're human. I would rather get pats on the back now for literally helping people to get off substances, which is what I do. I speak to families daily, literally helping them get connected to the right resources. And I love those pats on the back. Those get stored in a different area as opposed to, scoring the 83rd touchdown.
Exactly. It's like when you feel like your identity has been previously wrapped up into something that could one day just not be there. What is something that nobody can take from you, that you can always give, that having that thing, people be proud of, that is like, there's nothing better than that.
Right. That's helping family. Like, literally, it's tangible. It's literally tangible. Something I can reach out and grab and store. like, okay, I'm going to check on this family in 3 months, 4 months to see how they're doing.
One of the things I enjoy the most is when I do go out and speak to groups, is that person that comes up after me thinking that they're going to hear some stories about Chris Farley and my brother.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm telling my story. And they come up after and it's like, that's not what I thought this was about. And as a matter of fact, I was hearing my story in yours. And I'm sure you're feeling, you get the same thing. Like, oh, I'm going to see Montee Ball. Like, and then leaving with completely different, and changed.
I love how you've been sharing your story as well, Tom, because it's, again, there are a lot of parallels as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlapping concepts in a sense between our stories. And I've been very proud to call you friend, call you someone that's a coworker, I guess, or what have you, in the same space, a colleague,
definitely.
even better word. Yes. Thank you.
We met at the same, we were in the same place. We were in, like when we first met, I was still kind of somebody's brother and we were doing that thing and we, wrote a book and now we look back at that. I'm like, oh man, I've evolved so much beyond that.
That evolution is
amazing.
It's part of the process. And I think for folks who are in recovery, it is a duty of yours to help others evolve. Because if not, then I would not want to do this by myself.
Yeah, absolutely. What is some of the stuff you're up to lately? Like, share that. I want to hear more.
I'd love to. Montee Ball Foundation. Our application period is going to open up July 1st. And we are going to pay for outpatient treatment for teens. So for families that can't afford it.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
We're very excited about that. Very excited about it. And then of course, with that as well I'm the founding director of VIVO Colorado, where we are building our second recovery high school.
Oh, that's huge.
Your second one? Congrats.
Second one in Colorado. So there will be 4. The I and the V is a Roman numeral 4 to represent, of course, the number of schools we'll have just in Colorado. There are other states as well that we are branching out to.
That's awesome. That's
and so
cool.
This wheelhouse that we're creating, of course, I have my own separate foundation, and obviously this is something, on paper different. But of course, this wheelhouse, right, where if family can't afford it, we will do our best, of course, to pay for it. But also, once your child gets out of treatment, they have this option for alternative schooling. Not saying they need it, but this is an option where all the students at this high school are in recovery. There are peer support specialists on site as well. The teachers are in recovery. The kids starting every single morning at 8:45 a.m. till 9:15 do their positive affirmations.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Peer led, where they do it themselves, where they can also, if they see a kiddo, or a classmate of theirs decompensating live, they can have an intervention right there on site with them. And so it's just an atmosphere, an environment for like-minded people.
That's awesome.
To still get their education as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so that is.
I can't wait for those kids to go out into the world and do more helping. That's amazing. That's so cool.
And so the Montee Ball Foundation is going to go live here soon, but we're going to create this resource for communities to literally tap into by just one phone call.
That's wonderful.
And so enrollment for this school is year round, and it can happen in a week. And it's credited. They do receive college credits.
That's incredible. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for putting all that work into that. Yeah. That's so cool.
Of course. I'm very excited. I'm blessed. And it's this is what I'm here for.
I don't think that there's a shortage of people in their late teens, early 20s, even late 20s that may have also had their identity wrapped in something that they felt, what else can I do? Who am I without this? Even people that are just struggling in the atmosphere of college, navigating that and the drinking social stuff. What is some advice that you would give them? And what are 5 words that you would tell that person?
Do I have to shave it down to 5?
You can do 5 and then give an explanation.
Or how about this? Can I do the explanation and then do my 5?
You may.
Because I don't know what my 5 words are going to be yet.
You may.
Yeah, let's go.
For me, it's when I'm talking to, teens, of course, when I'm speaking to that demographic, it's, you really have to continuously be aware of the habits that you're creating especially the habits when you're partying and drinking and like, what are you fleeing from? What are you trying to run away from? Or what are you trying to cope with? Understand those habits that you're creating, because when times get difficult, that's what your body remembers. That's what your mind remembers of what's going to help me. You think it's helping you. And so for me, I always tell people that's just falls under the umbrella of self-reflection at a very young age, early intervention with yourself.
Yeah.
Essentially what I'm saying. And so if I had to shave it down to 5 words, it would be make sure you self-reflect.
Nailed it.
Love it.
I like it.
That's a tool that needs to be taught, obviously starting around the age of 6, 7. But I think, again, you need another one, right, to sharpen it when you're a teen, because there are more pitfalls. I really want for our youth and our teens to truly self-reflect. What are your triggers? What makes you feel happy? Like what gives you that dopamine hit, those happy hormones, and in a healthy way, healthy activity that you're doing? Really write that down. Who is your support system, right? Is it your family, or is it an activity, or is it your friends? What have you? Like, literally sit down and write that stuff down. It'll take you like 10 minutes. And I think that's what most people don't even know how to do, right? Where to start, or even some folks, of course, to this day, adults don't even have that relationship with themselves. And so it's you're having an introduction or whatever with yourself, and the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you judge yourself if you make a mistake, the way that you present, physically, whatever. How do you show up? How does it make you feel? And so again, this self-diagnostic check, this self-assessment is so important.
When you went to look for help, how did you do that? I mean, it's such a hard thing. What would have helped to make that easier?
Most people don't even understand the different treatment modalities that are out there. When people think of treatment/therapy, they think, just one-on-one, what they see on TV, right? Where it's mocked, where it's,
it's either a therapist, you're going to send me off somewhere and I'm never going to see my family again. And I can't do that. And that's not good enough. So I'm just going to sit here and do nothing.
Indeed. And so there are multiple avenues, right? Many different ways up that hill where you can go to intensive outpatient treatment, which is typically 12 hours a week. You're doing family, individual, and group. Group is so powerful because you get to literally listen to other stories from other families, from other groups. And just that change in perspective is so important when you're going throughout therapy.
Well, we tell our stories and we share because we don't heal in isolation.
Gosh, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. This has been so great. We're going to, we'll take this off camera and talk for a few more hours. This is amazing. I thank you so much for coming here and for joining us and for sharing everything. Where can people find you on the socials? Give us the title of your book. Where can we get that?
Absolutely. And so the book is on Amazon. People can find me, of course, is on Instagram, Montee Ball. I'll pop up. Twitter, Montee Ball 28. And please reach out to me. I'm a recovery coach. And so I speak with about 25 guys. Gals are welcome too, but for obvious reasons, it's mainly guys. Where they check in with me, I check in with them. It's free. I don't charge them.
Right. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Just to have a community and a conversation and to help people. And so again, this is what I love to do. This is who I am.
We're grateful to have this space and to have these conversations here and to be able to share that with other people. So thank you all for joining us for Recovery Cast. To learn more about Montee's story, feel free to go to the link in the description notes and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Montee.